Hello, guys. How we doing tonight? Small crowd, a bit of a delayed start. I do apologize. I just went straight past the time. Didn't even notice it. But I'm good. Otherwise, Seb. Happens once in a while, right? But it's all good. People who missed it and now notice it are gonna have the recording. So at least there's that. Nice to see you as well, Eco. I'll be very happy to answer any and all of your questions. I think it's actually very important that we discuss these things, so I'm quite happy that you came around. In case you were wondering, I host these events live where we review what happened in the day based on my specific model or system. How I trade is the easiest way to put it. And I do these reviews so that we can go ahead and go look at the setups for the day, review what happened in the day based on the logic that I personally use. And these are all recorded and added to YouTube. So we'll spend some time closer. Well, you know what? We better do this at the beginning rather than the end. But for those that are going to be listening into the recording here, Eco, unless you prefer me calling you Flux, Eco is new to trading, right? And more importantly, well, new or not, actually, in high school, right? And he had a very valuable question. She, sorry if I'm mistaken, about how you get started. And it sounds easy, right? But it's quite overwhelming task. I'm okay with Echo. Awesome. It's quite an overwhelming task that we don't really discuss around because I don't know if you notice, Echo, but people who do this 100%. A lot of them, at least, right? So when you get to a point like myself, where I've been doing this for years now, and I'm pretty young, being just 21, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird to think back on that when you start from zero, where would I start? I don't know where your level is with familiarity. This platform is called TradingView, so it's for the charts. I don't know where you're starting exactly, but really, no matter where you're going to be trading, no matter what you're going to be trading, there are so many options. The one piece of advice I can give is focus on data. What does that mean? Things people can prove. It's really just that simple. Don't get lost in all of the how can we say this? All of the furus, right? All of the things that are shiny and beautiful. Don't focus on that. Focus on the simple, proven things that people can show you repeated over times. And to be honest, it doesn't matter how you trade. You can look at this guy's logic and like it. You can look at this other guy's logic and like it. As I said, as long as it works, we do not care. Now, as I explained, I do these calls, and I believe it is the best tool for a beginner. It's very simple for me. It's what kind of content would I have enjoyed when I was starting off? It's this, because we go over everything. Of course, if you want to see how I personally trade the markets, I have a video right on my YouTube channel. You can find it under official links, or even just by going to the resources channel, you'll find the model video directly. And that is how I personally trade, and that is what we outline in these calls. And of course, every single day, we look at the specifics. I do understand it can be quite overwhelming when you start, but do you have just any initial questions right now? And if not, you'll get a great example of what one of these peer reviews are. I'm seeing you type, so I'm going to give you a second. Do you have any insights, Seb? You're closer to starting than I am. So maybe you have a little better of an understanding. I mean, I started 2.5 years ago, 2 years ago, a while ago. That's the right way to put it. My only difficulty is strategy and the major concepts I need. So yeah, just to reiterate what I said, it's really personal. See, some people, I have some friends that really just don't like my strategy because they have a hard time seeing that specific aspect or thinking in that specific way. So, in these sense, well, it doesn't matter what you use. Just make sure you don't waste your time on some things that people aren't backing. There are a lot of different ways to trade. I personally use concepts based on liquidity and intraday delivery. What I trade is the indices futures, NASDAQ and ES, right? Those are your indexes, your indices, pretty much. But it's really as you wish, right? I really recommend you go and watch my model video. You'll find it in here. I'll even link it, but in resources, rice trading model, right there, you have it linked. I'll jump the link in case you are interested. And then you'll see how it fits you, right? Truth is, I also do these calls, these weekly outlooks at the start of each week, and that allows, well, basically we outlook what I want to see on the week, right? So what am I going to be looking for in terms of trading for the week, direction, and yes, I do go into great detail about how I come to these ideas. And to be honest, you learn these ideas with time, right? So through calls like these, for example. Of course, there's always the option to go for private mentorship. For some people, it's worth it. For others, it isn't. And for myself, I'm no longer offering it as I'm doing a lot for free at this moment, as you might have noticed. And a lot more people could have told you that if we started this peer review at the correct time today. As I said, time just really flew by. Once in a while. Once in a while it messes around like that. But all recorded and uploaded to YouTube. You'll find, I think we're at over 100 PA reviews now. Pretty crazy stuff. As for the review's sake, I don't want it to be 25 minutes, 30 minutes. So let's try and keep it short and get right into it. Today, pretty straightforward stuff, right? Thursday, 24th of April, right here. We just had a very clean expansion day. We traded back down into the new day opening gap here. And if you have any questions, Echo, feel free to ask them for sure. But there are a lot of things that I'm going to be going over that you just learn instinctively or through the model video. Just need to watch a lot of his videos and grind like Ollie says. Yes, definitely, right? Because these videos will cover a lot of different things and I go in depth a lot of times. But I do recommend you get started there and see if it's for you. What I'm showcasing here is the gap between 2 days, which we call a new day opening gap, right? So we traded down within it, a new day opening gap from the previous day, right? Between Tuesday and Wednesday. Traded down within it, forming low of day, expanded towards previous day high, previous week high, and even the high of the range that we've been talking about here in the weekly outlook. The range that we were stuck trading within. Very nice to see a breakout and going to look for continuations going into tomorrow. But definitely some very, very nice price action today. Now, where it didn't get so nice, I guess the best way to put it, is that we didn't have a very clear long entry. So we had opportunities to go long. Where are my opening prices? There they are. So we had opportunities to go long, but they weren't the cleanest. And we'll look at them. But truly what we'd be looking for is, of course, at 9:30, you're going to be confirming the structure with a very clear open into a manipulation. Once again, into our new day opening gap. This is what this line represents. And then we started our expansion higher. Very, very clear longs, right? And you had nearby liquidity here to give you some very clear frameworks to look for higher. I'm going to bring this in here, actually. And let's just use this. All of this low resistance liquidity, the structure of that day just entices and confirms the idea that we were going to go higher. Of course, you always have access. Let's bring in previous day high in this sense. And let's remove these liquidity sessions because we would not have used them, right? So this is the context in which you can forget about frameworks like London Low, right? So you had London framework where you took out the high before 9:30 and now you can look to target the low, but this is a high probability low of day. It is counter to your daily structure. In times like these is where you can filter these frameworks. Really just a clear day that we're going to expand towards previous day high, previous week high, follow with our bias, and of course, once again, that extremity of our range on a higher time frame. You also have a pretty clear framework from previous day low to previous day high. It's been a while since I've seen a full reversal candle like this, but very, very beautiful framework. But as you guys would notice, we'll go down to the 1 minute, and the only way to take part in this trade for the Rise model specifically would have been to trade before the news. We had 9:45 news, and we also had 10 a.m. news that used to be high impact news, but Forex Factory changed it to what do we call those? To an orange folder. I still consider it a high impact, so I personally was waiting at 10 a.m. I was still looking at my charts early because as most of you guys know, I guess, you can look for a trade before 9:30 if I have a clear Joe swing with SMT. Now, for me this morning, that criteria wasn't there, mainly because we had a lot of SMT on the highs. Basically, sometimes ES will be a little slower than NASDAQ, and that hadn't happened in a long time, so I was confused when I saw all of this bearish SMT happen, to be honest, right? So I personally skipped this morning trade, and yes, in case you guys are wondering, I do regret it. As you can see, there was SMT from that Asia high, right? Reaching that level while ES had yet to reach that level. So this is what discouraged me from a long, but definitely a very beautiful trade. We'll look right here at the open. We formed SMT, and we can go even cleaner here, right? It's not important where the SMT starts, what specific level you're going to be using. Well, actually, that's just not SMT. So in this sense, it is kind of important. There we go. So to be a little bit more representative here. But you had a nice move lower confirmed through the SMT. That's truly the thing that's missing, right? Just due to the fact that we also had SMT on the highs, a lot of it, this is what deterred me. But truly, it was a beautiful setup. And as you can see here, right on 9:30, you could use this breaker right here, this breaker block, and give you just the entry right away at 9:30. Now that is before the news. As I said, since you have that clear 9:30 Judah swing, you can look for that entry. You guys know me, I never like to enter right away at 9:30. So the actual entry here would have been on the open of the next candle. 3 PD array stop loss rule. You have that fair value gap, inversion fair value gap order block. Pretty clear stop loss right here. Now, if you saw the SMT only later, because there was initially SMT with this, right, just between these two swings, as you'll see on NASDAQ right here. So your entry was valid at this point in time. You didn't not have to wait for anything else. Honestly, it's weird for me because I was narrating during the day, right? You guys can go look in the futures chat. And this is just a mistrade. It really is a setup that, looking back, I wish I took. And of course, I'm always going to regret not taking a setup that would have returned such a beautiful trade, right? Let's be honest here. A big return. But truth is, you had opposite SMT. And you guys know me that next time I'm going to see that, I'm going to be a little less picky with my trade for sure. But you had a lot of things telling you against it, a lot of things telling you against with it, sorry. But you'd really be looking at what I like to call variant setups, right? It's sometimes I'll take these, sometimes I won't. Today I regret it. I remember that we had another setup just like this probably 2 weeks ago where that time I took it. So it's really variable. It changes a lot. As per objectives, right? Current high of day is already near your entry. That wouldn't be very clear to me. But looking at previous day high as a clear drawn liquidity and taking this target just for the sake of we are at the midpoint of the range, right? That we're trying to reverse. If you're using specifically here, let's go to a little cleaner of a chart. If you're using the previous day's range, right, and you're just including that raid right here, this is a very clear enough level. It is all low resistance up till that point. There is no defense until that point, right? Now, for you starting off, Echo, that might be a quite alienating concept, but you'll see as you look at more videos and have a better understanding, it will be quite easier for you. But just going back here in our 1 minute chart, right? Very simple framework. You have a very clear target here that already provides 2R. I mean, just to 2 standard deviation, a little above 2 standard deviations of our breaker, you have 2R. So definitely, it's not hard to find levels to take profit. And then we don't have to think. It's previous day high, followed by previous week high. And our final target, if you held that long, would have been very beautiful. When was it hit? Right? 401. So I would have closed just before it, just to the rules I follow. But see, an astonishing 17.5 R potential. So definitely a very nice trade, and that I am salty I missed. And you know what? Tomorrow I'm going to go back on my charts and I won't be mad anymore. It is that simple. As per any other setups, for example, if you were looking for shorts, which at some point I was looking as well, well, as you guys can see, without me telling you, it would have been quite unsuccessful, right? We're looking at breaker blocks. Let's be pessimistic here and look at every possible unicorn entry and look at how many losses you could have had. I think it's important to look at things like this. I see here there are no breaker blocks, so there would be no entry. I'm looking. So here, I mean, overall, we'd have this inversion fair value gap. So we could say this is an entry, this is a loss, even if this is going into lunch, right? We don't take trades after 11:30. It's kind of hard to notice. Sorry, guys, I'm really looking at all the possibilities, right? Of course, here you have a lunch raid. So from that point, you'd actually have a framework to go short, right? Let's actually bring our session back. In the PM session, right, we look for lunch raids mainly as the possible setups. As soon as we take out the high, we expect it to expand to lunch low. Of course, it has to make sense, but at that point, previous week high had been reached, so you could definitely look for retracement short in a case like this. So I would definitely not be against this framework. Truth is, it just seems like another unsuccessful framework, right? Shorts didn't go well today, but you have a breaker block that formed here. You have an inversion fair value gap right here, giving you an opportunity to enter after, well, I mean, there's an even clearer entry here that is just going to be, as soon as we form that breaker block, you have the fair value gap at this level. Your stop would be at the invalidation point here. So a lot of potential for return, just no real trade. And I mean, you have all this low resistance, relative equal lows. Definitely a very nice framework that just didn't work out. Did it give you an entry on the second leg? In case you guys were curious, I wasn't watching my charts anywhere at this point anymore. I missed the morning trade, so wasn't really interested in spending the day trying to catch a short opportunity when the real trade was definitely in the morning. But if we look at it, I mean, you'd have this inversion fair value gap probably that didn't give you an entry, never retraced into it. This fair value gap is in close proximity. I could definitely look for an entry here. So yes, there was an entry and there was a successful setup in the PM. Definitely interesting there. If we look at the 3 area stop loss rule, you have the inversion fair value gap to the left, fair value gap, and fair value gap right here as well. So you have a nice stop loss at the high of this candle. And I mean, we didn't reach lunch lows, but you definitely had an opportunity to take profit. I did not go all the way down to where I would expect and target, to be honest with you guys. But how many times do I say it? I'm never going to be up over 2R in a trade and not having taken profit. So what do? How do I find my good level? Well, I mean, 4 standard deviations seems a bit cherry-picked in a sense like this, but it really is a nice level that you're going to be looking at. You're going to be seeing this liquidity and this liquidity, well, I mean, you did not reach it in this case. Did we have any sorts of SMT? Yes, there was SMT. Okay, so opposite end SMT is a clear sign to just take profit. We don't even have to think further than this. It is very, very much a clear sign. It's hard to find a clear level that you're going to be looking at. So just for the sake of pessimism, let's use the close of the next candle over. But we formed SMT with ES having taken out this level. You know, we could pick and choose for a while here. That's the truth. But the real trade was the morning long, offering a total, an opportunity for over 17R today. So definitely beautiful. There might be some continuation longs here going into the end of the day, but you guys know me. I'm not a power hour trader, which is the last hour of trading in the regular trading hours day, Echo. I don't know if you were familiar with that term since you are quite new. But really, the actual trade was the morning, targeting previous day high, previous week high, the current daily high at that point as well, with those levels before. Definitely a very, very nice setup. Do we have any questions in relation to today, right? For me, I really just opened my charts. We had clear structure telling me to go higher. Just missed the morning trade, unfortunately. And I'm not seeing anyone type, so I'm guessing it was all clear. How do you feel, Echo, after you're being thrown into your first price action review? Hopefully not too overwhelmed. My pleasure, brother. My pleasure. I'm seeing you type for a long time, so hopefully it wasn't too overwhelming. I'm going to give you a second before we call it a day. See if you have any final questions that I can answer. But really, the best thing for you, Echo, will definitely be to go look at the trading model video, get started with that, and then just listening in to some old price action reviews on the YouTube will definitely help you get a lot more direction. Although I am wondering what to do right after watching the model. Really, as I said, just watch the model, and then the best way you're going to learn is just by looking at old videos, and you're going to see day in and day out exactly how we trade that model and basically see the setups, right? So you're going to have the all-in-one package of every time I go down from my higher time frame and look at why was I looking to trade in that direction, and then we see the entries that it offered. Really, it's all in one. I can't recommend anything else. But that's going to be based on if you like the model or not. That's the truth. And then you can always join these PA reviews. I'd love to have you speak with recently. If you look at the testimonials, you're going to see Duval, which was actually in school the whole time he was learning. So I'd be more than happy to ask him to give you a shout there. Or if you want to DM him, ask him how he did it. That's definitely a worthwhile thing to do. Or really just talking in the community. You'll see a few people talking here and there that would love to share with you how they got started and how they're going to go about it. And a lot of people trading the model as well that won't be mad at helping you at all. I'm pretty sure we've fostered a community here that loves helping you people. So definitely a lot of stuff to go over, but I think that just going at it step by step will really help you get started. And I'm glad to see that it's not too overwhelming for you. Seeing you don't have the trader role, I'm going to have to fix something clearly. I just gave it to you. You guys have a great night. We're going to call it here. Sorry for starting. I think we were, 20 minutes late, actually. Really, time just flew by. I'm glad we still had some members here. You guys have a great night, and we'll see each other tomorrow for another price action review. Bye, guys. Have a great night.